Our last item comes from Social Media Today. This was an article from Andrew Hutchinson, who is talking about the monthly active user counts on social networks today. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of, take the pulse, since personally I haven't done this in a little while, as
Mhm.
to just what is the size, the relative size
Right.
of social media networks. This can be a challenging thing to do because many of these companies, Meta and TikTok, et cetera, they do not publish their exact count of users. But according
Hmm.
to Andrew's article, one of the things that Meta does is it announces when one of its platforms has reached the 3 billion user threshold. And so Facebook was the first one to do that. WhatsApp reached that threshold, I think, about a year ago. And then more recently, Instagram has now apparently reached the 3 billion user milestone as of September 2025. So that's actually not that recently, but several months ago, or I guess close to a year ago, Instagram crossed over that threshold as well. So I guess we can say now that Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, in terms of monthly active users, each are at that 3 billion mark. And the only other platform to sort of approach that number is YouTube, which has
Hmm.
about 2.7 billion monthly active users, according to third-party reporting. There's not an official number from Google about that either. TikTok is the next in line. According to Business of Apps, TikTok has 1.6 billion monthly active users. And so it's at about, roughly half of the size of Meta's platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that the three main meta, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp have the largest combined reach, especially looking, globally. We know WhatsApp is huge, globally speaking. We know that Instagram and Facebook have such a wide net audience with their visual approach, but also text friendly approach. Whereas if we're looking at TikTok or Snapchat or Pinterest, they have a little bit more of a niche of audience and also content type. Whereas Facebook and Instagram is a little bit more all encompassing. And Facebook and Instagram are a little bit older too. Like TikTok, I think having half the amount. I'm just looking at the chart here that you're referencing. 1.6, I believe you said, they're catching up and have been around for a lot shorter of a period of time than Facebook has. So I'll be really interested to see how this chart updates next year at this time. But the only kind of surprising thing to me was LinkedIn. I kind of expected LinkedIn to be a little bit higher in users. What do you think about that one? It's like less than 500,000.
Yeah, I am actually, well, let's see now. Less than 500 million, it looks like.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. My
Yeah,
extra
right.
zeros.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess I would expect in the chart that we're referencing, the rest of the platforms that we didn't yet talk about. After TikTok comes Messenger. This is in order of number of users. Then Snapchat, then Pinterest, then X, then Threads, then Reddit, and then LinkedIn. I'm actually kind of surprised that Reddit is as small as it is, given how much we talk about it. But
Hmm.
maybe Reddit and LinkedIn are both good examples of networks that, although they're a little bit smaller, their users tend to be very, very active and interact
Hmm.
with each
It's a good
other
point.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So the level of content might not be that different. A lot of these other more popular platforms, I know people have been talking about for a few years now, this trend where the users are becoming more passive consumers of content as
Yep.
opposed to contributors.
Hmm.
Whereas in these smaller networks, some of the value comes from the fact that, to be a user on Reddit, for example, there's an implication that you're going to be an active contributor, at least more so than perhaps some of these other platforms.
Yeah, that's a really good call. And I think something also to keep in mind on your same thought process on TikTok too, how much people are active users versus how much people are just scrolling as well, because some of these profiles or some of these networks, you need to have an account in order to view content, and some of them you don't. So I think that goes into consideration as well. Too, if I send my mom an Instagram link, she's not going to be able to view it if she's not logged in, but she might be able to view a couple of TikToks before they make her log in. So I do think each network has a little bit of a different barrier to how much you can publicly see too before you have to log in.
That's an interesting aspect to all of this. What it makes me think of, the publicly viewable content is also often indexed by search engines,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And so you could say that some of the, the size of the meta platforms has to do with how often their content is indexed. But on the other hand, Reddit content is pretty heavily indexed as well. So, it really just has to do with how interesting the content is, or it's another way of saying there are lots of different lenses that you can view the popularity or the relevance of a social platform. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So do you expect that it sounds like you do expect that TikTok is going to tip the 3 billion user mark at some point. It hasn't
Uh,
plateaued in its user growth in your view?
Not that I've noticed, at least. I know there was a little bit of a drop. What was it? A year or so ago now, whenever TikTok was going to be banned and then it wasn't, and then it was selling, all that stuff happened. I know they did lose some users at that time, but from my knowledge, at least, and I'd have to look into it, I believe that they've come back and they're growing faster than ever now. So I don't expect them to plateau, and I expect them to hit that 3 billion at some point.
Hmm. Cool. That'll be interesting to watch.